Good morning, everyone. I'm Kevin Allen, joined by my wounded colleague, Tom Laidlaw, who's former NHL defenseman. You know the story. He's played 11 seasons for the New York Rangers and the Los Angeles Kings. This is the Laidlaw and Allen Report. We come to you twice a week to talk all things hockey. We play hurt, as Tom is proving today. And Tom, there's lots going on in the NHL, even though we just started. There's a lot going on in my house.
There's a battle back there.
Yeah. So, a lot going on already in the NHL. Last night, we resumed play after the holiday break, and the Washington Capitals, that looked like they were out of it a month ago.
Yeah.
They have now won 9 out of 10, scored 4 or more goals, and 4 of those, and amazingly enough, TJ Oshie is out. Yeah. John Carlson is out. Tom Wilson is out. Yeah. Nicholas Backstrom is out. And they're playing like that team that won the Stanley Cup championship in 2018.
Well, it's one of those cases where they know they lost a lot of good players, so they've taught themselves how to play a lot better defense out there. So they were good last night. They were really dominant. The Rangers got some opportunities, but it was way outside. And they got the Shesterkin too, so they're playing well. They're a good hockey team.
Well, I mean, they have played better defensively, but the story on them is their offensive might. I mean, they've scored in the last 16 games. It's incredible. Like they've scored 4+ goals per game. This is the NHL. So I'm real impressed with the offense they have going. And Wilson and Backstrom are working out with the team. They got the non-contact jersey is off of them now. So, we're going to see them, relatively soon. I don't know when, they don't tell you that kind of stuff anymore, but, we'll see what happens. And then TJ Oshie, they're always at their best when TJ Oshie's in the lineup. Like the statistics when he's in and when he's out is really impressive. Now, I know they're winning now without him. But he really. We'll
get Kevin there. Well, Kevin is getting unfrozen there. Susan pops up this question here. So, to be honest with you, I did not think it was. See, the definition of. Sorry, Kevin, I just popped this up there while you were frozen. So, I don't know if did you see this last night? The interference call that was.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So. I think when obviously Susan's a huge Ranger fan, so I'm not saying she's prejudiced or biased. Excuse me. But the guy did bump into Shesterkin, but I don't think it stopped Shesterkin from making a play at the puck. I think that's why they called it that way. The referee, unfortunately, when he announced it on the ice, he said that the player did not touch the goaltender. I think that's how he phrased it, which was not true. He shouldn't have said that. He did touch him, but again, I don't think he stopped him from making a play at the puck. So it's interesting, though. Yeah.
Well, and this is just one of my pet peeves with the rules and with how we view the rules, and that is no matter what you do to alter the rules, that penalty is always going to be subjective.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say. I mean, you try to make it as black and white as you can, but it's still an interpretation.
Yeah,
it's always an interpretation. So we are never going to reach a point, and they all think, well, it's all on the referees. It's a hard situation. They got to weigh a lot of factors on goalie interference. It's not like the puck went out or it didn't go out. And even on that one, we, did it hit someone else's stick? We still have that interpretation as well.
Yeah, there's been so many changes in rules over the years. Look back to even when I played, the hooking and holding. We've always had hooking and holding as a penalty, but they just didn't call it. They call it all. Even shooting the puck over the glass in your own zone, we could do that. I'd like to claim responsibility for that rule, actually, because that was one of my favorite plays. If we got trouble on our end, just shoot over the glass.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, and this is totally unscientific, but if you're hanging out with people watching a game, especially in the NFL, that's what I do because there's more replays than that. But the best you're ever going to get is 7 out of 10, in terms of you're watching with your buddies and there's a play that a catch is, did he get both feet down? Everybody's watching the same replay. We're all watching it over and over again. And if there's 10 of you in there, 7 of you may see it one way, but there's 3.
I'd say it's pretty good.
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There's not 2 feet in there. So, it's just, that's just the way it is. And goalie interference is a hard one to call. The good analysts, you can tell they've stopped guessing, and they even tell you that, I'm just not going to guess on this because you are guessing. The referee's guessing. So
that's true. I listening to the radio, Sirius XM, and Marty Biron was talking about that very thing. He was saying, the referee puts his hand up, anticipating that he sees it a certain way. He puts his hand up to call it, but then actually they look back at it later. It wasn't what he thought it was. That happens a lot, but that is the game, right? That's how it goes.
That is, and it's in all sports, in baseball, what's the strike? Until we get the robots, which we're going to get sooner or later in baseball.
Do you think so?
Yeah. We're getting robots. It's already been talked about. Yeah. So there'll be a strike call, and that will alter, I think, how the game is played because, you're supposed to call the pitch where the ball crosses the plate. But in baseball now, and we know this because of the, we can now monitor like the framing ability of a catcher, the ability of a catcher to move that glove ever so slightly. So we know by that, because there is a difference. We know the good guys that are good at that. There's a difference between the strike rate on that. So what that tells us is the real umpires, and it's certainly understandable, are calling the pitch where it lands in the mitt.
Right.
These robots are going to call the pitch where it crosses the plate, because
where it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah, where it's supposed to be, and
okay.
because they can do that, because it's they'll have the laser ability and all that stuff. Now, Freeman, the outfielder, he said it's going to change things for hitters. He said because we're going to have to adjust to that, and he said we will, but he said we will have to adjust because we're all playing. Where the ball is going to be, where it's, deep in the catcher's mitt. That's where we're playing the strike zone. So,
and that's the way it works too, right? Remember after the lockout, the NHL lockout in 04-05, they changed all the hooking rules and everything. We're all like, oh my God, this is never going to work. The players adapted to it, right? Adapt to it,
Well, that's the greatest thing in the world. When a player always says, I always roll my eyes when a player says, I couldn't stop. Because the reason they're in the NHL is because they can make adjustments quicker in a millisecond more than everybody else.
Totally. Yeah.
They sense it, they feel it, they they react quicker, they get it. When we talk about hockey IQ and hockey sense, that's those guys. I'm sure you were overflowing with hockey sense, Don.
That's nonsense. Hockey nonsense.
I'm sure you were overflowing. You had a good Christmas. I saw you had your dog.
My grandson, Maverick. My son and his wife brought the Maverick over. He just loves his grandpa. It really is like a grandfather-grandson relationship. And they don't feed him. I think we've discussed this. They don't feed him any people food. So that was hard for grandpa because I'm in the kitchen cooking and everything. He's following me around. So he did get a couple little, unfortunately, they had an incident where my ex brought him over a toy. And it was one of those soft toys. And he chewed the ear off the soft toy and swallowed it. So the question was, were they going to have to take him to the doctor to get the thing removed? But he did pass it through, so he was fine. But
there always are issues. If you have a dog long enough, and we had a dog 17 years, they'll be in the dog ER 2 or 3 times. They're just like a kid, we had our dog on Christmas ate a whole bag of dark chocolate, which was not good, and they had to induce vomiting. And
is that right? See, people say that about the chocolate and everything. There's certain foods, and like any poultry, I guess they can't have either, right? They're very allergic. Like just golden retrievers in particular are illegal.
What is it? Poultry? I certainly didn't know that. So because there's chicken, a lot of dog foods. So
so I guess it's just the golden retrievers that can't do it. No, he was cute. He's cute. So he's not allowed on the couch at home. So, of course, Grandpa has to get him off the couch. But it's funny. They've trained him pretty well where he doesn't want to get on the couch. Like, he was not comfortable there. Like, I said they wanted to have a nap. So I put him up the couch and have a nap. But he wouldn't nap on the couch. He went down the floor. So they trained him. They did a good job of training him.
Yeah. Well, that's, a lot of people don't want their, I have a friend and he has 4, I'm drawing a blank, Siberian Huskies.
Oh, right.
Shedders. Shutters. And I went and visited him, and man, dog hair everywhere. And he tries to stay on top of it, but when you got 4 of those guys, it's
isn't it funny too? Like now I've cleared all the beach of all the wild dogs, and then I ran my head into a gondola there. Maybe it's like payback time or something. Maybe the dogs got back to me.
Though I certainly didn't follow your career daily like say Frank Brown did.
Right.
But I saw you a lot. I don't ever remember having a marked face. You usually do better in your encounters than that.
Yeah, I know. That's probably worse. I got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I dropped myself too. I thought I was going to go down, but fought through it.
Yeah. Well, it's what you never want to hear. You're just getting older. And what I don't like about it, and it's not anything I didn't tell him before the show started, he's become a cliche because Tom was reading his text message and he ran into something. Now, how many times have you seen that in a sitcom or a movie? Some guy not paying attention. Usually they're walking across the street though, so you're lucky.
It would have been pretty funny to have a camera there and film the whole thing too. That would have been
good. Yeah. Did you go down?
Almost. I thought I was going down. I thought I was going to give myself a concussion. Because I tried to do that march, so I tried to get the most out of each stride. And I have been doing it on the beach all the time because it's a harder workout walking on the sand. So yeah, oh God, just smacked it. The sound too, like you just smack your head on something.
Yeah. And what time? That was about 4 in the morning. 4.
It was like 6:10 actually.
Oh, your march goes a little later. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
So do you go right to the gym at 3:30 in the morning, or
go up at 3:30? So I go out and I do a short little march where I do a motivational video, and I post it at 3:53 on Instagram and 3:54 on Facebook. And then I go, I stand in my kitchen now and I do a little motivational stuff. I listen to some motivational music and then leave out about 4:10 to go to the gym.
Yeah. Okay. 4:10 to the gym, and you get out of there at 6.
Yep. They're at 6, go to the beach. And usually I'm at the beach 45 minutes an hour, do a lot of videos there. Apparently it's really healthy being near the water and watching the sunrise too. That's what the logic is. So
good for the psychology.
Yeah, I guess there's a scientific belief that really it's a great way to start your day to watch the sun come up. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, just turning back to the NHL. Now that we're getting back full swing.
Sorry. I hate to interrupt you, but this one it's pretty funny. How'd you get Gorbachev on this? That's pretty good.
That is good. And now Anthony has got to be a little bit older to have that Gorbachev reference, because it's been a while since Gorby has been in office. I love that, though. That's right on.
Good job, man.
Right on. The birthmark. The birthmark.
Very funny.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Oh, God.
That's
good.
Excellent. We need a little.
How was your Christmas? You have the whole family there? I know you scheduled.
No, I mean, we haven't really. Our Christmas is tomorrow morning.
That's right.
So I got everybody. My family is 14 strong, if you count my children, their spouses, and my grandkids. And we like to try to all get together. We try it twice a year. We do it once to go to our lake house in August, and we do it at Christmas. And it's as I said in a Facebook post, it's complicated negotiations. Yeah. I have 6 professionals, 7 of us are working out of the 8 adults, and so to try to get it all to fit in is difficult. I felt like when I was done that I just negotiated the Treaty of Versailles. I mean, but we all settled in. We're having Christmas tomorrow. Everyone will be here. Right. And it'll be just regular Christmas morning. We'll get up, open Christmas presents. We'll have Christmas dinner. We have what we call the reindeer games at that night. So it's a contest that we do that I throw together, and it's a brain tester. Right. So it'll do that, and then they'll be here through the weekend. I'm going to Lions game on Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. So even though
Lions are playing well too, your Lions are
they were. They didn't play well last game. Yeah, so they had to win that game, and 3 other teams had to lose, and they could have been actually in a playoff position then. Right. Which when you have one playoff win in my lifetime, that would have been significant.
So they're out of the playoffs now, or are they still?
Well, right now they're on the outside looking in. Yeah, but they needed the Giants to lose, which they did. They needed I forget all Seattle. I think they needed to lose, and Seattle did. There was some other team too that needed to. So everybody lost who was supposed to.
Right.
But then the Lions couldn't take care of business against Carolina. It didn't play well at all defensively. So anyway, but they're playing the Bears now, and that there's still a mathematical chance. They need more help and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. My son and I will go. We used to go to the games a lot back in the days before he was married and had 4 kids. But now he's in town, and it's funny. I didn't actually well, he was standing there, but I turned to his wife and said, could Shane go to the game with us with everything you got going? Because it's not a one person job when you got
Very
4
true.
kids.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2.
And they're all young too, right? Aren't they all pretty young?
Yeah. I mean, one is 10, but
okay.
but they've got just a bit, a newborn that's 3 weeks old. So
you ever say to yourself sometimes, "Wow, I can't believe I got a 10-year-old grandson."
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Well, my oldest will be 39 this summer, so that's hard to believe.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
That's it's just starting to creep up there. But you look at your birthday. How often now you fill out? Well, I mean, are you on Social Security? I don't even know.
No,
are you?
No, I'm not. No.
No, you're not. Okay.
Yeah. But it is funny when you go to fill out something, you have to put your birth date in there. And you got to scroll down. So you get a lot of scrolling to get down there.
Yeah, you got to do a lot of scrolling. So yeah. So and on Medicare and all that, which seems so far away. Now, but the problem is, and I've said this before, healthcare through the years, it just got worse. When I first started, it covered almost everything, and by the time I left USA Today, it was you were still paying 30% of your costs. Well, I got Medicare now. It feels like the greatest thing in the world. It used to, before you'd say, oh man, when I got to get on Medicare, but it's kind of all working out. But you're right. It's you gotta, when you got a 10-year-old granddaughter, it's you're going, how did that happen? So okay, getting back to hockey, I wanted to jump on this a little bit. With so much going on, it wasn't that long ago, the Metropolitan Division, the New Jersey Devils, who have been really consistent in my opinion.
I swear to you, this was the topic I wanted to talk about. Good job. Nice.
Yeah. And then now all of a sudden, now it's kind of rolled. I mean, Carolina's up by 6 points in that division. They keep winning. They're in a long unbeaten streak, or a point streak, I should say. And then they're 6 up over on the Devils. Now Washington is now in 3rd place. And they look pretty solid, as I mentioned before, on them. And then we got the Devils in there, and I'm sure the Devils are going, wait a minute here, we've played great. And it feels like they're just holding on now. It's like, because there's people coming hard on the rail.
So could that be the biggest story in the second half of the season, the collapse of the Devils?
Well, is it the collapse of the Devils, or is it everybody coming from behind? So I mean, like, their record is still reasonable. It's not like they've gone into a long tailspin.
I guess they're just so much on fire at the start of the year that now they couldn't keep that pace going, right? But
no, but I don't know. And now in the Atlantic now, like, you've got some a lot of good teams in the Atlantic as well. Like Boston has been by far the most consistent team.
Yeah, definitely.
In the league. It's like it's not even close.
Right.
Like, they play the same every game. And if they don't win, they're losing in overtime, or it's a 1-goal game. So, and then Tampa Bay's got, I think they're 5 points different than last year, but they're still a solid team.
Sure.
Toronto, nobody's talking about them. They've been one of the top, in my opinion, 2 or 3 teams in the league.
Yep, the goaltending has really been what they hoped it would be. Yeah.
Far. I'm really, like, I'm eating crow on that one. Like, I didn't like the Murray acquisition.
Yeah, same here.
I didn't think Samsonov was the answer as well. I actually liked Jack Campbell, and look where I sit today, because Jack Campbell has not done the job in Edmonton. Matt Murray and I mean, Skinner there, I think, is playing. He might be the number 1 goalie. I think he is the number 1 goalie now. Right. But Toronto's really been good. And what if but maybe they won't adjust it. But I've thought before, let's just speculate a little bit here and say, comes trade deadline time, and Steve Yzerman calls Dubas and he says, I can't sign Tyler Bertuzzi. Ooh. And what you need more than anything else is that gritty, edgy, goal-scoring forward.
Ooh, they do.
And who can play at your tempo, but also can get in there first in line when there's trouble, goes hard to the net, is good in the corners, just hard to play against. Nobody likes to play against them.
Yeah.
And you need one more dependable defenseman. I got Ali Mata. Ali Mata, who's played well all season long, thinks defense first, makes the safe play. Been really terrific. I can give you those two in a package.
Ooh, man.
And
Muzzin is probably done for the year, right? Or you think maybe his career is even over? Jake Muzzin, right?
Yeah, Muzzin. Yeah, well, they don't know. I mean, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of speculation that could be true.
So Mata is kind of taking his place, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I wonder whether they're thinking now we don't want to mess with this chemistry because the younger players have played well for Toronto.
Yep.
And but I don't think you're never. Chemistry is important. Like I would never deny that. It really is. But if you got a chance to upgrade, I mean, I think you got to do it. I mean, Mata's a really good defensive defenseman.
Right.
So
and the chemistry you really don't know for sure, right? You could say, well, this chemistry is really going to be good with this player coming in. You don't know that for sure. You don't know how he meshes with other people, what his ice time is going to be, how happy he is with that. So yeah, I think the chemistry it is very important, but I don't think you can ever really predict what the chemistry is going to be between players. So yeah, I think you're definitely right. If that's an interesting concept. So what does Yzerman get for that?
Well, that's going to be the problem because he's going to start with Nylander, I think, and I'm not sure. I think Dubas would say, "Well, am I that farther ahead if I get me?" Because Nylander is a very good offensive player.
And Bertuzzi's a free agent at the end of the year.
Correct. So, but that frees up some money for Toronto as well. Right. I don't know.
Does it work from the cap standpoint? I guess it's so late in the year, you're not eating much your cap.
Oh, right? But you're still eating. Yeah, I mean, I think that's why you got to make some kind of deal like that because I don't think they can easily slide in. I mean, they got Muzzin's money, so they can make it work there. But I think Mata's 2.5, so 2.5, and Bertuzzi 4.5. So they got to get 7.
Sure.
So they'd have to do something. Someone has to come back.
So what's going to happen like in Chicago then? Is Patrick Kane going to end up a Ranger?
That's what everybody's saying. I mean, then you get Panarin and he back together.
It's not like he's playing bad, Panarin, and needs Kane, right?
No, but they could be magic together. And you know what it's like when you get a new guy in who's really, really good. There's excitement level, and
true.
So it really just kind of gets everybody all juiced up.
Very true.
Whole season.
So do you think there'd be a lot of that kind of stuff? What you're talking about with Detroit, maybe Chicago, is Phoenix?
I think there's going to be quite a bit of it. I mean, Taves is playing well enough now that I think you can move him. I mean, the Blackhawks will have to eat half his salary, but I think they'd be willing to do that if they can get something back. Imagine him in Colorado or back in Winnipeg. Both of those teams are looking for a number 2 center. And what a good deal it is to be able to say, I'm bringing in Taves to be my number 2, a guy that's won 3 cups.
Yeah, very true. And going to Winnipeg's playing pretty well too. They're having a good season.
Yeah. But they need some help too. They're not like it's not like they're the Montreal Canadiens vintage 1970s. Like they could use that. So and more Horvat, could end up in Colorado as well.
Sure.
I
like what the players have done there in Winnipeg too. They take the C off Wheeler's jersey, and it's not like at least publicly, it doesn't look like there's a problem. The team's actually playing better now, so that's credit to the players too. Yeah.
I mean, this goes to what we talked about last week and I brought that up on other podcasts too, and it just hurts people for me to say that, but I said, it's just human nature. I'm glad it didn't happen to me. You know what I mean? So if you get traded or you lose something like that. You feel bad for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Because the guy, you hung out with him, you play golf with him in the spring and all that. But, this is a business. You guys say it all the time. They know it. And, what they say when they get home with their wife is, thank God it wasn't me.
Totally.
So,
you do. And you don't even realize at the time when you're playing how wrapped up you are in your own career, even like on the outside world. Like when you're playing the game, you're just totally like into your game. That you have to protect yourself in your game. Although you're playing a team game and you got to be a good team player, like you're saying, you really have to be you are selfish. You have to concentrate on yourself.
Yeah.
But again, when you're playing, you don't even realize you're like that. It's not till after the game that you realize, wow, man.
I mean, you say the right things, when you bring in some guy that hasn't won a cup and he's been in the league 20 years, you say, we're so happy for him. Yeah. Well, you may be, but you're mostly happy for you.
Totally. That's true.
That you won the cup, and, I mean, it doesn't make hockey players bad guys. In fact, to be honest, hockey players are great guys, but totally. That you get into this business and, you always have to look out for you, and you got to do what's best for your family, so
they're on fire today.
Yeah, it's not going well.
Did they have a cup of coffee, or are they?
I don't know what's going on. So, I mean, it sounds like we're on the verge of being invaded or something, but really, she probably just couldn't get something out of the toy box.
That's funny.
It's just what happened. So.
What's going on is who's going to win the West End? Is Colorado going to be able to get the injured players back? Are they going
to? They can't score any goals. They really need to get Nathan MacKinnon back, and he's such a catalyst. He's involved in like 40% plus of their scoring. So, and they got a lot of talent there, but let's not forget that Landeskog is out too. Yeah. So, so they need to get everybody healthy again, and I think they will make a piece. And the other thing that we don't talk about because the injuries are so overwhelming is they don't have Nazem Kadri, who was one of the top, 5 scorers in the league last year, 5 or 6 scorers, somewhere in there.
Play with an edge too, man. He plays like that hard game too. Like you're talking about Bertuzzi, that's Kadri's game as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got to replace him, and they can't replace him because there just aren't many guys who have an edge. And can score, but they've got to replace his offense. They really do. It will be better when Landeskog comes back and MacKinnon, because they went from scoring almost 4 goals a game last year. They were scoring 4. I don't know whether they finished there, but they were averaging 4 for the longest time. And then now they're down. Like I think they're 23rd in the league scoring. Like they're way down there. They're way down in scoring. So they've got to get it together. And like people talk about all the time about how the Islanders need scoring. Islanders, in my opinion, are just an average scoring team. Like they're not terrible.
Yeah,
they're just not great. But they're better than the Colorado Avalanche right now.
Are they really? Oh wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we could look it up. But I think like the Islanders are like 15th or 16th, and I think Colorado is 23rd or 24th.
Wow.
So
Susan brings up a good point here that I'm glad she reminded us. Good thoughts for everyone in Buffalo. That's nasty. The deaths there and everything. Wow.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting. I was watching the news there, and they had the guy on that is in charge of dealing with all this. Like, I don't remember what his title was.
Yep.
But he's in charge of dealing with Buffalo being Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And he just said, we can deal with the snow. He said, that last, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when we had snowed, 4 feet high and all that, he said, in 2 days, we had that all cleared and ready to go. Sure. He said, where we had trouble was the wind.
Yeah.
Because we'd clear it and the wind would blow it all back.
Right.
And that's what caused all the problem. And, those are the things, that you just, you can't factor in. I mean, what can you do for the wind? You can't. I mean, you can, once the snow hits the ground, you can get rid of it.
Sure.
But if it's blowing all over while you're trying to clear it off, and that's all the, and Buffalo is really and not in terms of anything other than the weather I'm speaking of, but is there a worse place to live than Buffalo? I mean, it's just the lake effect.
Yeah.
Like, I like to drive to Buffalo, and for all you Canadian fans, I'm not disparaging your country, but it's shorter to go through Canada to go to Buffalo, but I don't do that anymore because the borders are always a mess.
Oh, okay.
And you never know what you're going to get. I got to cross twice in order to do that, and it's faster and it's shorter, but I don't know what I'm going to get. So I go the long way from Michigan, and it's about 40 minutes longer, but I know what I'm going to get.
That's true.
And there's a sign as you make that turn and head north to go up to Buffalo, and it says Lake Effect starts here. And I swear to God, as soon as you see that sign, the snow starts blowing right on you. It's just like it's blowing in. As soon as you see that sign, it's amazing. And I swear, if you drive, I don't drive there in July, but if I did, I would expect to see snow as soon as I hit that sign.
Well, it is interesting. Would Marquette be worse, like more snow? They get a lot of snow up there too.
They do, but they don't have the lake effect quite like I think Buffalo. So,
yeah.
But I don't know for sure. I mean, you may be right, but it just seems like that's my impression is that Buffalo.
Yep.
So, but I do feel sorry for them. I love the story. I don't know where it was, but I love the story about the Denny's that just opened up its restaurant, and they had a couple hundred people just living there for 2 days because they were stranded out on the highway and couldn't get anywhere. And the guy said, I think we've eaten everything on the menu. He said, but they're sleeping in the booths and on chairs and on tables. And, you love it when people step up and take care of.
Sure. Very true. Very true.
So it's always
Very
good.
True. What's happening to my LA Kings out west there? How are they doing?
Well, I mean, I think they're a team I think we expect to do something at the trade deadline as well. And it's getting to be, Doughty and Kopitar are near the end there. And but I think they're going to gauge it based on where they're at. Sure. If they're in,
are they in it right now? Are they in a playoff spot?
No, I don't think they are.
Right. No, they aren't. Yeah, you're right.
Let's look here just to see where they're at. So I've lost track of them after, I didn't look at the standing.
Oh, we lost Kevin there for a little bit. He probably turned the computer off, or maybe the Warriors in there pulled the plug or something on him. Let me see, Tim, what you say here. Last year, condensers went on the local rink to the cold. On the irony, the irony, the stadium rink is a pond. That to repair. Oh, interesting. Where is that? Where are you at, Tim? Let me see here. Kings 20-12-6. So they're not doing too bad. Not too bad at all. What has Susan got here? Let's answer some of these questions we missed. Any reaction to Canada being smoked by Czech? Again, it doesn't mean much, right? Although you want to start playing well. But a lot of pressure on those kids in Canada, too. That's a big tournament there, the World Junior Tournament. Everybody doesn't know what that is. But, again, they've lost before in early rounds, but they did get smoked, like you said, too. So, let me see here. What do they get for Patrick Kane? I believe he's a free agent at the end of the year, too, right? Here comes Kevin back. I believe here he is.
Am I back? All right. Sorry about that. Talk about I was getting on you for being a cliche, and there I was. I pushed the button to find the standings. I knocked myself off this deal. So
anyway. The Kings are one of our who's got here 20-12-6. The Kings are, so that's a pretty decent record.
Yeah, they're a decent record, but are they out of the? I don't know. Let's see where they are here, because I knew their record was above 500. What I don't know is where they are in the standings. So let's try to see where they're at now.
Kings number 2. Excuse me.
Man, we've it's warming up though. We're in the 30s today in Michigan. I don't know what it is, so it's been cold out there. So, but
we were down in single digits there for a couple of days.
We were too. It was, I know I'm getting old because I don't like that weather anymore. I never used to be bothered by it. Now, Kings are second, so they still are in that.
Yeah, so
but here's the one thing that I think they're worried about. Their goal differential is -5. Like when they're bad, they're very bad.
Right.
So,
right.
I think you know what? Should have known, because I think I saw a story that they're the only team in a playoff position that has a negative goal differential. I don't know if that's right. Let me see if that's right.
How about Connor McDavid? Isn't Connor McDavid on a pace to score like 70 goals or something?
Oh, he's played so well. He's still on his point scoring streak. Yeah. So
it's like 70 some goals and 160 points. I think he's on the pace for.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No,
will he keep that pace going? I think he will. Why would he stop unless he gets hurt?
Well, I mean, scoring has been up, this year. So, I don't know why they wouldn't. But I mean, I think what worries people in Edmonton is, are they going to give him a team that can win, or when the next contract will he say adios?
Yeah, and what's he been in the league? He's 8 years now. He's been in the league.
It's been in a while. Yeah,
that's hard to believe that a player that great has never won, right?
It's not hard to believe he hasn't won. It's hard to believe he hasn't gotten close. It's hard to be tough.
Last year was somewhat close, right? Did they get the semifinals last year, right?
So but I mean, it wasn't really close. Like, I mean, he didn't get to the finals, but they just don't seem like they're there, and that's the biggest problem. Although, and now with the Kane injury, makes you wonder what's happening there. I mean, they're mentioned in connection to everyone as well. With Patrick Kane. I don't know whether Patrick, would want to go to Edmonton, but, with an opportunity to play with Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, I mean, that's a great offensive team. Maybe that would appeal to him.
Right. So if you're Kane, you got a choice between Edmonton and the New York Rangers. What do you take?
Knowing, he's a upstate New York boy, I'd say he'd go to the Rangers. And, he knows Panarin, so I would say he would lean toward the Rangers. And he's an American. He's some say when he retires, people are going to say he's the greatest American player of all time.
And the difference between New York and Edmonton is the Rangers have goaltending too, right?
And not just goaltending, but, elite.
Right. He hasn't been as good this year, but he's still,
I mean, let's, I take my chances with Shesterkin in any game.
So you're Edmonton, though, and you think, okay, we put together this team, but we don't have goaltending. Like, you still,
I guess Skinner, I think's been okay. I mean, I think, let's put it this way. I think they'd be happier this time around than, last year.
That's a good way of putting it.
So, I mean, but, they don't have Shesterkin, they don't have Sorokin, and, the guys that were in the top 5 goaltenders at the start of the year, I remember talking about NHL Network did their top 5, Saros, just hasn't been as good. Demko got hurt. Lundqvist in Calgary hasn't been as good. So really, it's only Sorokin and Shesterkin and Vasilevsky. Those guys have all been, been, at least the same level of players. Like you still like your chances if you have them in goal.
Definitely. So here's your burning question, football question: is Tom Brady going to retire after the season?
Well, now that he's getting a divorce, maybe not.
He's got nothing else to do now.
Well, I mean, I think that part of that discussion was, I think she said, look, what are you doing to your body? And
so what's the dirt there? So they got divorced because he went back and played, or?
I mean, I don't really know, but I mean, there seems to be his decision certainly played a role,
right?
Like, I think she said, please don't. And he said, gotta,
So now if you're some other guy, how do you date, what's her name? Giselle. Like after Tom Brady and the life they've led and everything. You see another guy's coming in there. It's like,
she's got her own money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and she'll get some of his money too. So,
right.
I don't know. I mean, it seems pretty easy to do here.
Well, they would have had a prenup, right?
Well, you would assume so, but that's usually still worked out. It's not like you get nothing in a prenup.
It's true.
So, and again, she had her own money.
Yeah, definitely. So, man, some other guy asking her out on a date. You think to yourself, I'm not going to ask her out on a date. She was married to Tom Brady, for God's sakes.
I don't understand that logic.
Well, it's the male ego, right? The male ego is going to say, well, I can't stack up.
On what grounds that you don't you can't match his money?
You can't match his money, his looks, skill as an athlete. Yeah.
I don't want to burst your bubble there, but I don't think in the long term, maybe in the short term,
right,
that those are
so some other guy, but some other guy, that's the way a lot of guys think. Obviously, you don't, but there's nothing wrong with that. But a lot of guys think that way,
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
maybe it's the vanity of a former athlete, right?
Yeah, I think you're into that territory too. But she's going to be in a running in a circle where she's only going to meet
that's true
other celebrities.
Yeah,
so true. It's not like she's going to meet
right.
An accountant. That's
excellent point. But so anybody that she's meeting is either very wealthy or successful.
Right. Her circle of friends and the people she's going to be introduced to it are going to be in the same as her as well. But anyway, we've run out of time here, and I've got to get some stuff done. With the NHL's back in business here. If you want to read me, I can be seen at Detroit Hockey Now.
All right, everybody, be careful of those gondolas on the beach. They're attacking you as you walk on the beach. Everybody have a great day.